Joining us now, we've gone to Matamata to grab Jamie Richards. Jamie, obviously it's a pretty difficult time, but one thing you're doing is you're training remotely with a couple of horses in Australia with big assignments this weekend. How are both sort of State and Probabeel ahead of Saturday?
Yeah, pretty happy with both of them, Aidan, particularly Probabeel. She's in good shape. Everything's gone according to plan since she had that little hold up with a bit of an elevated temperature. But she's gone over. She's a seasoned traveller. She's had a nice hit out at Flemington on Saturday on the grass, and then a good strong bit of work at Caulfield on Tuesday morning as well. So she's in good shape. Damien's obviously on her, who knows her well, and they've given her the outside barrier again, but we just come to expect that with her. So she's going to be sort of probably a little bit deeper and out of trouble, but expect her to run really well.
How do you combat the barrier draw for starters?
Just leave that up to Damien. We were in this same sort of position at the beginning of last preparation, and we just sort of snuck forward a little bit and sat deep. There's only one corner there at Caulfield from the chute. I'm envisaging that we'll be trying to do something similar again, but it's just whether those jockeys on the inside are going to keep us 3 out or 4 out, or what they're going to do. But Damien's a world-class rider, and full faith in him.
It looks a really suitable assignment, doesn't it? A Group 3 mares race to kick her off at 1,200 metres. Probably shorter than her best, but she does like to resume at these sprint trips, doesn't she?
Yeah, and I think it sets her up for a really nice campaign. Like, obviously, we were planning on being sort of ready for the Mimsy first up 14, but I'm really quite happy that we're going 12 first up, because it is a proven formula for her. Sprints well fresh, and then 3 weeks to 1,400, sort of seems to be ideal. So, yeah, happy with her. She's obviously got to carry 60, and people will see that, but it's important to recognise as well that there's only a 4 kilo spread on the weights, and she gets in, really well under the conditions.
Yep. So what is her program? What's after the Cochrane?
So after the Cochrane, she's probably going to go to the Sir Rupert Clarke 1,400. That's a handicap race. She's going to have to carry a bit of weight, and that's not what we would usually do with a horse of her calibre in terms of trying to pick out weight for age races. But we've sort of missed the weight for age series in Melbourne now, having sort of missed running in the Mimsy. So we've been dictated to a little bit in that respect. But the plan is to probably carry some weight in the Sir Rupert Clarke and again on the 2 rack, and then make up our mind where we go from there.
Okay, yeah, she was a Group 1 winner twice last season. Can you compare a condition this year, obviously with Group 1 targets in Australia in the spring in mind?
Yeah, I don't think she's far away from where she needs to be. She's a very genuine horse. Trials have been good. Goes to a new level when she gets the blinkers on race day, and be disappointed if she wasn't right at the finish.
Okay, and the same colours for the first time on race day sort of State in San Domenico at Kembla Grange on Saturday. You come up against the slipper winner in a pretty tidy field of early 3-year-olds. Currently around about that $11 mark in betting. What can we expect from him?
So sort of State's probably a doubtful starter, Aidan. The track's come up heavy out there with quite a bit of rain. Speaking to Ray Thomas just before, he said it's probably going to get to the border of slow to heavy on a good day, and that does present some genuine concerns for us. So we're just sort of sitting and waiting to see how that looks this afternoon. But I would say that he's very unlikely to start there on Saturday, just knowing that he needs better ground, and he's first up. Don't want him to have a gut buster. He hasn't had a bad blood, but he's had an okay blood. So we might just sort of take our time a little bit with him, and to be taking on slipper winners and horses like the Godolphin, Colton, Remark, you really need to be at the top of your game, and obviously he's a valuable horse. So we just want to do everything by the book, and if that means that we're waiting for another 2 or 3 weeks, then we're happy to do so.
Okay, so that means you've been thumbing through the programming on the website. Is there an alternative start point for him that you've come up with?
Well, if we want to just back off a little bit and probably just go quiet for a week or 10 days, then he'll probably go to a race called the Heritage Stakes, which is a very similar race to Saturday's race, set weights and penalties 1,100. And that would set him up nicely for the Roman Console, which is a Group 2 1,200 3-year-old boys race as well. Now, those races are sort of 4 or 5 weeks away, so we've got a bit of time there to get him right. He's just not quite there in the coat yet and things like that, but it's a really long spring. Obviously, we want to try and be ready for the Coolmore in Melbourne, so we're just having a good hard think about things and making sure that we get it right.
Yeah, so you're going to confine them to sprint targets by the sound of things through the early part of this year anyhow?
Well, the plan was if we were going to get off the ground in the San Domenico was to go to the Run to the Rose 1200 and then look at the Golden Rose, which is 7 furlongs. So not necessarily saying that he's not going to get out to that trip, but if his campaign looks better planned to be the Heritage into the Roman Console and then possibly going to Melbourne for a race like the Coolmore, then that's what we'll do. But there's nowhere to hide for him. He's up against the best of the best, and it looks to be a great crop of colts. So we just want to get it right and make sure that we don't devalue him and show everybody how good we think he is.
Okay, and of course you've got another couple of horses over in Australia. You've got Carmelas down in Melbourne, I think. Is Entriviere the other one up in Sydney? Yeah,
that's right. Carmelas is in Melbourne with Ashley, and really happy with where she's at. She's gone over there as a bit of a sort of a travelling mate for Probabeel, but also we just place her pretty carefully around some of those smaller listed type races. So she's going to go to Moonee Valley on Tuesday morning for a gallop with a view to going back there next Saturday for a listed 1200 called the Chandler McLeod. I think that'll be a nice race to kick her off in, and it looks like Damien can hopefully ride her in that race as well. And Entriviere was obviously a scratching on Saturday out of the fillies and mares race there, the toy show, with a bit of a sort of a foot abscess type problem. So as soon as we're able to give her some anti-inflammatories when we scratched her on Saturday morning, she really bounced through that quickly. Taken a couple of easy days to really get her over it, but we think we're sort of past the worst of that now. So she probably trials today week at Randwick, and then she will go to Rosehill on the 11th for the Scirocco Stakes, or the Scirocco Stakes, which is a Group 2 set weights 1200 fillies and mares. So that'll be an ideal race for her. I guess first up last weekend, drawn the car park with top weight. If we were to miss a race, that probably wasn't the worst one to miss. So really looking forward to having the opportunity to show her off when we get the chance.